Hello.
Okay, there we go. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It's Chalice Mike over there. I'm Guthron. We're going to continue our Enterprise build. That's what we're working on. Oh, that thing right there.
Oh, you're in? Oh, no. Yeah, I know. Let me do some
Hey, I
counting.
Kill Omega's here.
Oh,
So,
hello.
let's get the game up here real quick.
20,
No, I
40,
don't want to show the Sims.
60,
There we
70,
go. Yeah, it is a stream. And we are working on the Enterprise.
81. So 163.
Oh, you're working on the phaser?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. Did that say you just started following me? I Kill Omega? Thanks for that, if that's true. Okay, I'm going to continue working on building the rectangle part of this level we're at right here.
Alright.
And
20,
since I'm
30.
not actually playing any music today, I guess I'll turn the music back on.
So 123. Excuse me.
Ankbot is a little bit delayed there. Go home, Ankbot, you're drunk.
Unkbot?
Yeah, it's one of it's a bot that I use to manage the channel. That's how I do shout outs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It gives you heads ups when people follow or start hosting.
Yeah.
Which is handy if you're really bad at looking at chat.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying anything, but I don't know who I'd be talking about.
Me?
Maybe. I didn't say it outright, but hey, you're
Could
welcome.
be.
You're welcome to assume whatever you want.
Interpret that it's me.
So how are you doing today, I Kill Omega? I saw you, and I shared you finally reached your top 10 of your favorite, was it manga? I don't remember what your favorite one is, though. Do you like manga, Chalice Mike?
I am not familiar enough with it to know whether I like it or not.
Basically, crappity poop, I did it again. It's Japanese comics.
Okay.
There are adult versions and there are
anime, but not animated, just comics.
Similar drawing style.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Japan's version of that. It's been around forever. They would probably frown at the idea that I said.
You call it what?
I called it comics. What is this? This is such an insult. I know, like American manga fans would say that. What? Get out of the way.
9.
So we are currently working on the upper half of the saucer section. I think he may be watching from work, or like chatting from work. He may not actually be watching. So for those of you who don't know, I Kill Omega is actually the artist who did the cover of Rise, my novel.
Oh, yes.
I think you knew that.
I did. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
He's been working on some sketches for me for an upcoming project. No, I mean, it's not a secret. The upcoming project is fall. But he's been working on some special sketches for me in his spare time, which is greatly appreciated. As a patron, actually, you, Jealous Mike, will actually get to see some of the. I already shared a post with some of them, but you're actually going to get to see. Yeah, you'll get to actually see the finished product once it's done first.
I already got an email with some sketches.
Yep, those were 2 of them. He sent me I think at least one more. We're working on some designs for ships. He sent me one. Oh, I loved it. I'll be sharing that one with the patrons. I think probably when I get off of here. But that sketch of that ship was amazing. I was in love with it from the instant he shared it with me.
Yeah.
He's sketching them on a form of cardboard so that they, I guess, stand up better. I think was what he was what he explained to me. And because I asked him if he was still still putting stuff, I got him a book, a hardcover drawing book years ago.
Yeah.
And the sketches that you saw before on the Rise page and in the message, the what I added as like a video element to the message from Logwin, since hers is just an audio thing that she sent me. I used those sketches were from him, and they're in that book. The sketch that was the the cover image for my Twitter page forever and my author page was he did that also.
Okay.
So that one, actually, I need to talk to him about potentially doing something more with it, because I think he could, if we can, because pretty much all I have is a picture that he took of the book, right? If we can get like the sketch in a format that we can actually manipulate on in some software and ink it up and color it and stuff, I think the Geekscape. Okay, see, you can. Are you saying you can get me the picture in a different format that we can manipulate? Because sorry,
yes,
I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking. Yeah, because if we can colorize that, when I was on the Geekscape podcast, which comes out every Sunday or Monday, I was in like 2 weeks ago. I think, 2 weeks ago. I was discussing it with him when we were talking about Geekscape pictures, and he actually asked to see it, and had it been colorized, he would have shared it. So I told him I would talk to Chris. So Chris, hey, I'm talking to you.
4, 3, 2.
Oh, and hey, nice, working on a ticket. Not working on this one of the Citadels. I think there's something under my shift key.
4, 3, 2, 3.
I kill Omega. He streams. Doesn't say what he doesn't say. I need to set my thing up to show what he's been streaming lately. But I think he's been doing Truck Simulator. I know he does
Truck Simulator. I've seen him on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he does a lot of games that are easy to manage while doing other things. You know, kind of like I was doing with Soda Dungeon.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes watching people stink at a game is entertainment. Now, Art in no way stinks at The Sims 4, but if you haven't caught the highlight that I uploaded yesterday of her first stream, where she started a new Legacy family,
Okay.
The oh, too far. The let's just say her attempt at inventing did not end well. I'm not familiar with that game, I Kill Omega, but if you're familiar with Soda Dungeon, that's like a classic. You set your party to go, and then you just let them. You just turn around and walk away. You can set it to auto, and they will just go and 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 go until they encounter an obstacle they can't defeat, and then they're defeated.
Yeah.
Or they get to boss 500 who can't be defeated unless you heal them, and for some reason the AI can't figure that out, so you have to actually do it for them before they run out of magic. So you have to properly gear them and stuff, and then you just let them go. And yeah, exactly, like, that's exactly Idle Road like roguelike. But you could set that thing go for running the back around and then come back like 2 or 3 hours later and go, oh yeah, how'd they do? Oh, look at that, all that money I spent a lot of time in the, yes, I have upgraded that thing to the brim. I'm currently just farming essence in that essence fountain thing. That's pretty much the only thing I do at this point, is farm that stuff until I've maxed out all of the potential things you can do with for your characters with essence, and then I'm going to go and try to get through the final, the final last, because I think I've opened up to 800. I think it's where I was last, so got to, but then I moved, and it's on mobile, but they didn't learn the lesson from Crashlands, and you can't save to the cloud and continue the game. So if you create a game on PC, if you want to keep playing that one, you got to keep playing it on the PC. So that quickly turned it off for me, so I pretty much just let Zoe use that one.
I didn't know that there was really any games out there that
Crashlands.
Save games.
Yeah, you can play Crashlands. I love Crashlands. It's besides getting inventory right, although it does have a few little issues with its inventory management system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you just set it to go while you're working, you could get a long way there, I Kill Omega. Yeah, but Crashlands, if you haven't played Crashlands, I'd seriously consider giving it a try now. Not right now while you're doing your Fallout 4 playthrough, but that game is amazing, and you can play it on Android or iOS also, and your save is the big sell for the game is it's cross-platformy. And that was a big part of it for me, because I could then just go out and grind stuff, and materials and everything. And the inventory system is how you should do inventory management in an age when you no longer have to worry about the limitations of your save capabilities and the memory capabilities on your system. We've been past that forever, and yet they still, like this game, they still like to pretend that limited inventory is a challenge. Like, okay, you know what? Limited inventory is not a challenge if I can carry 3 swords in my backpack and a shield. That's not limited inventory, because that's not realistic. Limited inventory is when you actually are limited, like kind of like in Fallout where you're limited by weight, but even then you can still put so much stuff.
Oh yeah, my guy can carry, was it like 500 pounds of stuff?
Yeah,
that's not real.
Not realistic at all.
Yeah, why limited if you're
limited inventory?
They're doing it for.
No, they're doing it because people think that that's a part of being survival, because that's all anyone has ever done, and it's not true. If you want to have a limited inventory option to make your game harder, then do so, but actually make it. So Diablo's another example. Actually make it where they limit it. But look how many weapons and stuff you're carrying. That's not realistic at all. Just make it, if you want limited inventory, make it so that you are actually limited to what your character can physically carry. And then you're stuck. So you can't just say, I'm going to take both of those swords and go home and do something with it, because you're already carrying a sword, and you might be able to put one in a scabbard back if you have a scabbard.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's limited inventory. This whole thing of, we're just going to give you a limited number of spots, so then you end up in your survival game spending half of your time just organizing all of the stuff that you've accumulated to be productive in the game.
Yeah.
Terraria. There's a reason. One of the reasons I still don't really go back to Terraria, and why I actually don't like playing this game in survival mode, is because of that whole concept of I'm going to spend more time just organizing my crap than I am going to be playing. That's not fun. That's not challenging. That's life. It's like trying to manage my house with limited storage space. Who wants to do that for a game? I mean, sure, yeah, The Sims is The Sims is popular, but even that's idealized.
Yeah.
Because they have personal inventory that they can carry a ton of stuff in, and age extension potions and stuff, and money trees and stuff like that.
Plus, the idea is if you just try hard enough and train hard enough, you're going to be successful in your build.
Yeah, exactly.
And making lots more money.
I know there's a very old RPG that he played a long time ago that had a sack, and aside from what you could wear, you could only put enough things that in it that would fill you. See, that's limited inventory, and that's the issue. I get the people saying, no, it's a part of this. I was like, no, it's not. If you can carry 7 tons of metal, you're not limited in your inventory.
Well, and there are games out there that try to represent things realistically. However, those games are ridiculously hard.
Yeah.
Because things like being able to survive more than one shot, like if you get shot once, like even if you're in body armor, you get shot once, it's going to disable you.
Yeah.
But so they have to suspend reality to actually make it enjoyable.
If you're
the
gonna
reason why people don't do that kind of stuff for fun in real life.
Is if you're going to suspend reality to make it enjoyable, then guess what? Suspend
You
reality
argue that
and make
you should
it
just do it
in everything.
unlimited.
Yeah, just do it unlimited. If you want to have the challenge of limited inventory slots as a part of it, make that something that you can enable when you start. When you start the game. You know, when you decide to do hard mode.
To have variation on that difficulty.
And see, the thing about Crashlands is just because you pick something up doesn't mean you always have access to it. You actually have to you actually have to access the inventory system, which in this case I think is they get away. Their argument is that the machine that's carried along with you is what's accessing it. But you're still only limited to however many you've picked. Just because you say, okay, I've now picked everything on the planet. That's not unlimited. If you've only picked one, you only have one. Yeah. Even though when you go look in your inventory, there is none of you don't have to be worrying about how many slots am I taking up with this stuff and figuring out which things you need to get rid of. No, it's just you've collected 17 of these and you've never used them, so you still have 17. I mean, at least Sims does things like spoiling food, so you can't keep food forever now. And I think they've always done that. But yeah, inventory systems. That's one of those things at this point. I just don't buy it anymore, and I don't buy the arguments. I think people who make the arguments are just making excuses for their favorite games. Because of that whole, I can still carry 7 swords in my limited inventory pack. Like, yeah, you could. Have you ever tried to carry 7 actual swords? Let alone stick them in a bag.
Games doing that, but I won't try to pretend that it makes it more realistic.
And it's not actually making the game harder. It's making the game frustrating.
Or depends on what you.
It's making it needlessly complicated. I mean, I could even go with the whole your inventory is unlimited, but you could only access it at this one place until you've upgraded the network so that you can access it from anywhere. That's fine because it creates a limitation on it, and you can even build that through the whole thing. Sure, your inventory is when you go to. See, that's the thing I like about Crashlands is they just show you, like if you're doing recipes, they only show you the materials that are available to build it, so you're not going through your whole, like on Terraria, you're not going through every single chest trying to figure out where you saved this berry or this particular jewel or something like that. So they limit what you see. You never actually can see your entire inventory. There are places where you can look up, like I can see all the potential weapons I could trade this one out for. Here are all the potential potions that I can put on my thing so that I can use them. But if you've only ever made 7 of them, you still only have 7. It doesn't matter where, and you have to put them on your action bar in order to use them. You can't just say, oh, they're in my bag, so I can just use them anywhere. No, you actually have to go into your inventory and pick and pull it out and then set it to a hotkey to use it. See, there's still some limitations that they put on it, and they're smart limitations. But yeah,
okay, you're using by saying smart limitations.
Okay, not smart. They are not needless. They are not needlessly complicated.
But even then, needlessly complicated is subject to perspective and it's not an objective phrase.
Game or inventory organization is not a game. If you want to call inventory organization a game, create a game that's called inventory organization.
Okay, but that's arguing that a single component makes or breaks a game's existence, whereas games are usually complex.
I could argue that there are some games where a single component killed it.
Well, sure, that's different.
And some of that is subjective.
Exactly.
But part of the reason why we play games is to escape reality, and everybody struggles with where to store things and what to keep and what not to keep and stuff like that. So putting that in a game, it's not fun, and it's not challenging. It's just complicated. It's complicating something that doesn't need to be complicated in a world that's virtual. It's already not real. We all know it's not real, and you adding this layer of, oh, see, we have limited storage options in this world. Like, no, I could go buy another storage facility and then still have the same issues with figuring out where things are.
Okay, so with games, for games to be successful, one of the ways that they function is by triggering the work/reward, the goal reward system that our brain attributes to success and pleasure and achievement. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Having the most efficiently organized box, treasure chests in Terraria is not an achievement. It's
no.
There is no sense of achievement in that. It's now I can function quickly. Wait until I've started amassing even newer stuff, and now I got to adapt the system again. And so I have to take an entire game session where I want to just be playing, organizing crap, because if I want to get all this advanced stuff, I have to reorganize the system so that I can quickly find it.
But a large variety of rewards, and if a game is going to be using things as rewards, so if a thing is what progresses your character, and it's more tangible to the brain, even if it's digital, a thing is more tangible than a semi-invisible stat.
Yeah,
so if you can see that you're wearing a thing.
I agree with that, but here's my argument against that. Crashlands. You get the same sense of achievement, the same tangible benefit, you just don't have any of the headache of finding and organizing so you can find and balancing out all the crap that you have to make sure that, this may be beneficial some point, whatever. None of that. It's in your inventory based on how many you have of it, and at some point, if you can find a use for it, then you can use it. And then when you do and you get that item, you get the same tangible benefit and none of the time wasted shuffling items between treasure chests. I mean, in World of Warcraft, look at that as an example. You have 6 saddlebags of 16 slots each or 20 slots each? I can't remember how many it is now. It's been so long since I played that. The silk saddlecloth thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who's really carrying 6 bags with 20 items in each? And you get to end up with the same system there. And people have created mods to eliminate doing all of that nonsense because so many people find it frustrating and not fun. That's part of the reason, besides the fact that she just doesn't feel except for defeating the wall of flesh and going into a hard mode thing. There's a reason why Art doesn't play Terraria anymore. She's like, this is too much like real life.
But that can be said for a lot of games because it's that balance between. So our brains have to interpret the challenge level of it as semi-believable. Now that's not a cognitive thing; that's a subconscious thing. Now the cognition side of it.
How is struggling with storage space for things that you might make later in the game cognitively beneficial?
It is not, and I'm arguing that it's not cognitive. It's a subconscious thing, and that storage space is facilitative towards the reward system.
So why do so many people complain about inventory management in games?
Because it's a balance.
That's the problem. The games don't balance it. They just keep doing the exact same thing. There's a reason why Crashlands stands out because of that, because they did something different.
You're making a comparison. Okay, so if there's a facilitative function that many games have to learn to deal with, and developers have to deal with, because it's a facilitative thing that can detract from the enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you're throwing a one versus everybody else, whereas in reality, different game developers, different game designers put different levels of effort, different amounts of effort, and have different levels of success in effort to make this facilitative function more transparent.
Name a game that doesn't eventually run into one of these two problems. You've run out of space. Or the space you have has become so overcomplicated because there's just so much stuff that you start spending more and more time managing that stuff than you are actually going out and finding it.
I'm saying you're oversimplifying.
That's the problem. It's been overcomplicated, and they don't have to do it anymore. 20, 30 years ago, game memory systems couldn't handle you having endless items. They actually needed to limit it because there was a limitation on save space. That I get. Back then, no one even questioned it because it was like there's only so much memory on the card. There's only so much memory on the cartridge, whatever. That era is long since gone. If you remove the limitation of the system, the system capabilities couldn't handle that kind of inventory level. I mean, just the fact that we have games where you can have thousands upon thousands upon thousands of chest spaces, because just how many chest spaces do you want to have? I mean, we've gotten to the point where the sheer mass of items that you can have in an inventory shows that there isn't really a limit. It's an artificial restriction that game makers just decide, hey, we're just going to put this in there because it's harder. And the argument that it's harder, so many gamers who are that I've had this discussion with, who are trying to defend their survival game of choice, Rust or Minecraft or Terraria or the Longest Dark or the Long Dark, stuff like that. It's big games where survival is key, and they put limited inventory in there as part of it. You ask them, why they're clinging to it. It's just because it's part of the game's difficulty. It's like having a needlessly overcomplicated inventory management system that prevents you from actually playing the content and spending more time managing what you have. That's not needless. That's not difficult. That's them deciding to make something hard that doesn't need to be hard.
But again, you're using words that are inherently subjective.
Well, and they've completely convinced an entire generations of players that inventory management is just part of what makes a game hard. Like, I'd argue, no, it's not what makes the game hard. What makes a game hard is going out and doing the things and defeating the things that you might pick these items up from that. And when you're done, you want to be able to go do more of that. You don't want to have to go back to a bank and spend an hour just trying to sort through your bags. I mean, the WoW mods that fix that I mean, I remember having several mods, and then the UIs that I switched to later, who would just automatically sort things. And when you went to a vendor, would automatically sell things. Initially, it was just automatically sell junk. Later, they were more advanced, and you could say, I don't want any cloth because I'm not going to use it. So it would show up, and then you could even set quality on the item. So if you say, I only want to keep top level like silk, then when you showed up at a particular vendor where you could sell stuff, it would instantly sell all that stuff for you, or at least say, give you the option of, hey, are you sure you want to sell all this? And then you could just click yes, and it would sell everything. That the reason why mods like that existed is because people were sick of losing game time when they could have been out experiencing content just managing inventory. And you ask around, you're gonna find that is, like, people get so frustrated with it. But when you propose something like that for a game like this, then the first thing to say is, man, you just want everything to be easy. That's part of being hard. And there's a difference between hard and complicated. Some things can be hard, some things can be hard and complicated, and then there's the complications that you don't need to have, that they're just putting on there because it's expected. I Kill Omega, you said there aren't many hard games anymore, so they have to make convoluted, messy systems to clutter the game up and artificially extend it. To a point, you're right. A lot of games used to be very difficult. Are you counting, Shells Mike? Is that why you're suddenly quiet?
No, I think that you're fixated on something that's inherently subjective and arguing that it's an objective.
I agree that it's subjective. I agree that it's subjective. I actually, yeah, I don't disagree with you that it's subjective, and I will use that term for my next statement. It is subjective, and it is a subjective point of view that almost universally is agreed with amongst gamers. And since game developers are making games for gamers, the why they would continue to make systems that build in this this kind of overcomplicated system is beyond me. Like, if you want to make your gamers happy, I mean, do you remember when WoW added AOE looting? They got that. They got that from another game. I don't remember. Was that Guild Wars that did AOE looting first?
I don't know who did it first. Guild Wars did it.
Yeah, somebody else did it, and then eventually World of Warcraft did it, and everybody in WoW just beyond bonkers happy. They were so happy they no longer had to go to each individual body and loot every single item. And Rift is the one that did it first. That's right. I Kill Omega. When they did that, it was universally celebrated. Generally, when they made tweaks to the game like that, people were always like, "Oh, they're just making it easier so that, even noobs can get in and experience this content." And to a point, there were arguments in favor of that. Like, I Kill Omega here is saying they don't make hard games anymore. But when a feature like that comes out, that simplified the loot gathering process, which is also connected to the organization process, and it's universally praised by your entire game base, that tells you something about your inventory system. And the sheer number of people downloading the mods or the UIs that simplified inventory management speaks also to how many people subjectively think that inventory management is needlessly complicated. Now again, if that's your style and you want to play it, make it an option. Like, I actually want to have limited inventory, and then maybe you could even add layers of, well, I want to be limited to what I could actually physically carry in this kind of bag and on this kind of body. Or you just say, no, it's just a number of spots. That's adding a difficulty on yourself that you don't necessarily have to, but if you think that makes the experience more fulfilling for you, then do it. So I guess it's more about giving players the choice than it is just forcing a system on them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Again, I agree. Entirely subjective.
Well, and then there's also the scope of the argument. The same argument can be made to, frankly, any facet of a game's structure and
Oh, and
execution.
it
And
is.
so if you make every single facet of a game structure and execution optional, then you no longer have the structure
Well, that gets
required to
towards
facilitate the game itself.
that gets more towards what I Kill Omega was talking about how the games aren't difficult anymore. But dealing with something that's like you could experience content and the inventory management of a part of a game would not matter at all. You could just say, you know what, I'm just never going to carry anything. You know, I will put on exactly what I need, but I'm never, when I loot something, I'm just going to have a mod that just purges everything from my bags. I don't want to keep it.
Well,
And maybe
for
it's something
example,
you
there's
set to happen later, so you don't
a
accidentally
character-
purge a really good item.
The
You're gonna
character here it kind of breaks the third wall and makes fun of inventory in general. He says, you carry so much crap, all I do is carry a hammer.
Oh, who's this? Sorry.
Strong, he's the super mutant follower that I can have. He says, why do you have to carry so much crap? All I need is a hammer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, in Fallout 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. See, even they're breaking the third wall. They're just basically saying, yeah, we know that inventory management is an issue. Maybe you should just stop carrying so many things. Like, okay, yeah, that is a very fair point. I could get better with just not picking up stuff, which is a lot more difficult when you have when you turn on a game and suddenly area of effect looting and auto looting is automatically enabled. So you have to go in and turn that off. I would rather have the option to turn it on, but that's the whole opt-in versus automatically opting people in argument.
It also depends on the mini games within a game. So crafting systems inherently are mini games within a game.
Yep. And Crashlands is no exception to that. The crafting system, the crafting game in there is just as fun, just as challenging. You just don't have to worry about, oh, I gotta go make sure I have that particular thing on me to make it. No, when you go to what you have to have is have had picked it at some point, and then go to the right machine to make it. Once you have those two things and the recipe, so there were three things you need: the materials, the recipe, and the machine to build it on. If you had those things, then when you went to the machine, you could just build it. So at that point, all it was a matter of doing was find the materials, find the recipe, which you also you actually have to build the next level machine as you go. It's doing the exact same thing. You still get that little mini game inside the game, but you don't have to deal with any of the frustration of where did I put that crap I don't remember because I had to take a week off from the game and now I can't remember where I stuck that one item. And Michelle, I mean, her reaction to it was to just dump everything into certain chests that were designated for, I just loaded it all. She would dump everything. She would just dump everything, and then she would set aside a time. She would log into the game just to go in and clean all that crap up.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's not fun. That's realizing that their system is going to force you to do this, and so you have to set aside time organizing crap. And she constantly complained about it. It's like, this is not fun. I don't know why they think this is fun. Now, she never played Crashlands, so I don't know about it, but I know that Zoe has, and Zoe has played games where the inventory was just Crashlands is a game that she actually has like a good memory of playing, and whenever she plays a game that limits her inventory, she comments on it every single time that this is not fun. Like, well, there's a difference between fun and challenging. Like, well, how? And then she starts asking the questions. Well, why is this challenging? It's like, well, it limits what you have available on you. It's like, okay, I get that. They did that in Crashlands, and like, touche, kiddo, touche. I can't argue with you there. This is a 10-year-old. Well, at the time, it was an 8-year-old brain saying this. Okay, so hold on. I Kill Omega said quality of life changes. I think he's referencing like the mods and stuff and how it improves, like when they added AoE and stuff like that. And then he added a lot of JRPGs today with heavy loot systems, auto-categorize and tab your loot. That's decent compared to what a lot of games you get anymore. I mean, a lot of games will auto. I mean, just tell us, Mike, and you comment. A lot of games auto sort your stuff by what it is. You know, they let you build stacks and stuff. So what were you gonna say?
Well, first, I'm irritated because I'm one space off from where I thought I was going to be meeting the side here.
This is my surprise space.
Okay, so
how many times have we been one space off?
I'm still trying to take the context of the conversation out a step or two in
well, I think context does matter.
Overall context. Well, I think it does, because the answer is the same answer for tailoring to maximize enjoyment with difficulty in any gaming system.
Always a challenge.
Well, yes, but I think the answer is the same.
How many times has Blizzard been the butt end of those jokes?
Feedback. Accurate, concise, qualitative feedback from fans, and then how the addressing that feedback on the company's part.
Well, and Blizzard is a good case study of what you're talking about there, because what they would end up with fans who constantly complain about something, but then you would have other fans who were the snobs who would just talk about how all these little inventory tweak things, you know, back in my day, and these are 18-year-old kids who'd been playing the game for 4 years. 18-year-old kids saying back in my day. It's like, kid, you're a little too young to be talking about back in my day. Okay, the last one of those that I encountered, I actually said, have you gone back and played Vanilla WoW? Like, ever?
Yeah.
Like, you talk about the glory days of Molten Core and the original Naxxramas and the systems and everything, how all these things that they're doing now just make it easier so that people that you don't like, you know, being in your ecosystem can play in your ecosystem. Like, have you actually seriously gone back and played Vanilla WoW? That interface is horrible.
Rough.
And Art was just talking last night about how she would wondered what it would be like to go back and play Sims 1. And her very next comment was, I would probably spend the entire time, the entire thing, you know, time frustrated. I was like, oh yeah, we should stream this. That would make great entertainment. Because people like to watch, you know, people having a hard time with things. It's just amusing. Cause especially if they've had a hard time with something, because then they can like commiserate with you, like, oh, I remember that. Oh, it was so frustrating. Castlevania was released more than 30 years ago on the NES, and they didn't have fan feedback, but they released a very hard but very fun game that is still fun for mini gamers today. As for inventory management, a lot of older games kept it simple, and sometimes simple can be better. Well, yeah, and simple tends to be you only have so many slots, and make do with it. But I would also say that some of those systems benefited from you didn't have the ability to store items for an extended period of time. So like one of my all-time favorite games, Sword of Vermilion. Actually, I'm gonna correct something I said earlier.
No.
The first game that I thoroughly enjoyed, where I did not have to worry about system or inventory management, was Sword of Vermilion in 1993. It was a Sega Genesis game. I actually was doing a playthrough of it before my before the Steam version stopped showing up in OBS. So then I had to quickly do a catch up on another version on an emulator, and then I got distracted with issues in life and never went back to it. But that game actually, so we're talking back in 1993, somebody figured out how to make a game that was challenging, straightforward. I mean, there wasn't anything challenging about where to go, but I mean, if you were a completionist, it had some points where you kind of had to make sure you did things before you made it to a certain point in the game. But yeah, inventory management wasn't an issue. You had endless slots to put things in. You just had you were only limited to the number of items that you found or purchased. So that's 24 years ago. I think they actually made it in 1992. I'd have to go look at the thing. Oh, hold on. That stupid bot is. I haven't fixed that yet.
4544. Wait a minute.
There you go. Here.
443.
I need to make an adjustment on that. My favorite, what was deleted was my favorite RPG is Illusion of Gaia. It has an inventory, 16 slots for everything, including key items and consumables, and there are only a handful of item types in the game. Yeah, that's very similar. Yeah, it's a simple system. Not really sure why I decided to delete all of your things. Said please refrain from using oh, it blocked it because you capitalized 2 words. Yeah. Ankbot, you and I are gonna have to have a conversation. As soon as this is over, you and I are going out back and having a conversation. So you're not in timeout, Ikil Omega. Yeah. That thing's, yeah. The same thing happened to me in another one, but that one was when a mod deciding to be funny because I said in text shares inappropriate link. I wrote the words shares inappropriate link because they'd just been joking around about it, and then the mod thought she would do like a 10-second timeout, but it was a 10-minute timeout, and then for some reason the streamer whose channel she was a mod in didn't undo it. But I think it's because I whispered him directly. Says just leave it. It'll give me 10 minutes to get some work done. Maybe go get a sandwich. But yeah, Ankbot does it automatically. Him and I are gonna have a chat. So yeah, Illusion of Gaia. It's like what you're talking about there. I mean, I think the Zelda games were all that way too. You could only have so many items, and that was it. There was no bank or anything. I think when they introduced bank systems to the game, that's when developers started. They had the opportunity to be smarter about it, and they didn't. They didn't. It'd be interesting to see if you could find information, like research that, and see why that became the prevalent system. Had fixed slots for all upgrades. Yeah, so when you would upgrade something, it would just automatically go into it. And you didn't potions, like there were very limited, like you said in Gaia, there were very limited types of items you could pick up. Yeah, one, it was like, did you have this or did you not? And then they would give you a certain, like you had so many bottles, you never lost the bottle, but if you used up what was in the bottle, because the bottle only had 1 slot in it, so some games used to have something similar to an unlimited inventory storage system. They just limited the number of slots you had to put all those items in, and at the same time limited the number of items you could put in them, so it would always match. I'm playing a Final Fantasy game that was like that with magic. Everybody could learn all of the magic. You just had to buy the magic book to teach them. Are you fixing your phaser array over there?
Well, I'm trying to.
Well, I've just about filled, I think, one side of this level, so then we can start ellipsizing it.
The problem that I've come to is that I'm 1 space off what I think I should be.
Okay.
You know, I'm 1 pixel, 1 block off.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, by the way, I usually do it earlier, but thanks to my make sure I can see all of them. Thanks to my people who are hosting, Chalice Mike, Ion B. Apparently, Ikil Omega is hosting you.
I mean, we're all doing the same thing. Well, I don't know why he's hosting me because I'm not live.
No, Pixel Sharks.
That's what I'm saying. Pixel Sharks is not live.
Well, then I'll go into the app and make Pixel Sharks host me. Hi, Zoe.
Is Peggy in here somewhere?
Nope, she's not in here. She's somewhere else.
Poopy.
She's hiding.
She's hiding. She doesn't want to see you right now.
Son of a beast!
That's what I meant to say the other day. Oh, Pixel Sharks is still hosting Game Mechanic. Sorry, Game Mechanic. I'm stealing them. There we go. And then, oh, that's the second time I've done that. I've gone into...
And
Thanks for that, I Kill Omega. I've gone into Pixel Sharks channel to type host, and I typed
7,
host Pixel Sharks. Like, no, host Pixel Sharks.
3. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 1. So 122. 123. Yeah, there's no reason why this shouldn't be on. No.
Tell us how you really feel. And then after you do that, what's a gaming mechanic that you don't like?
A gaming mechanic that I don't like?
I've clearly shared one of mine. And I admit, I agree with you. It is entirely subjective.
And that's the problem for me. It depends on the game.
Okay, what's one that you've encountered in more than one game? It doesn't have to be present in all games because not all games have inventory management. So
Exactly, and that's the thing, is it has to be 2 games that are similar enough as to share this one particular quality.
You know what? I think Kingdom Hearts didn't have a complicated inventory system either, and it was very limited. And it wasn't. It was. It didn't limit what you could have. I have to. Yes, thanks, I Kill Omega. I'd have to look that up, but I also forgot to say thanks, Chalice Mike and Ion B. You had to equip item to slots, but that's just the consumables. Yeah, but I don't think you had to worry about a limitation on consumables. You had to worry about a limitation, just that how many that you had and did you equip them. Like, it wasn't like they were going to limit how many you could loot. What they limited was how many they limited it to how many you had either purchased or made or found, and did you actually put it on there so you could use it. I don't remember them limiting anything else. The weapons you could just always trade out if you preferred a certain key. I can't tell you, there was many times where they gave me a key, an upgrade key, and I didn't use it. I would just keep one from a previous world because it looked better and the stats were comparable. Crafting items dropped into your bag, but potions are 1 for 1. You can buy 20 potions. Oh, hang on. Hello, Mom. I'm going to be very circumvent about the specific details because I'm currently streaming. So, yes, Zoe does like horses. She just spent an entire German Minecraft stream the other day breeding horses.
2, 1, 2, 1.
Yep.
2, 1,
She does.
1.
Love you too. Bye. Sorry, she messaged me and I got distracted and forgot to answer.
1. No problem.
It always confuses me, like, because I have the Twitch dashboard up for my channel, and I have the Ankbot up. The Ankbot is showing me more viewers than the Twitch thing, and there's always like one random viewer that's always there, and I can never see who it is. Like, who are you? You're there somewhere. Why don't you make yourself known?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4.
We're back to counting with Mike. So Crafting. Back to I Kill Omega. Crafting items dropped into your bag, but potions are 1-to-1. You can buy 20 potions, but if you only have 3 slots, you can only put 1 potion to each slot. Yeah, but I don't think they limited how many potions you could buy. That's what I'm trying to say. Once you use those 3, you could then put 3 more in. They didn't limit how many you could purchase behind the scenes. I don't think they did, at least. Oh, they put a 100 cap on it? Actually, I think you're right. I do remember something like that. But still, 100 of an item. I mean, that's basically what Final Fantasy does. But they don't. They limit like the number of items you can have, just like they limit like that. There's a top end number of yeah. There's a top end amount of gil you can have in Final Fantasy games, but there is an endless, like, what seems like there's an endless slot system when you go to look at the inventory, where you could only have 100 of an item, but you could have any number of items. There was only so many items in the game. That was probably the limit, but that was just a limitation that they built into the game to say you could only have there are only so many items in the world, and you have enough slots to hold up to 100 or 99. Sometimes it was 99. Up to 100 of each item, and obviously if you use one, then you can make more. But I do remember that, and that is a typical JRPG thing. And Crashlands is an ARPG, so it's got some common elements over. Besides the fact that it's just a fun.
What's JRPG versus ARPG?
Japanese RPG versus action RPG.
Gotcha.
Okay, so that deck's done. And you still building your phaser array?
I still haven't identified why there's an issue, which is even better.
Even better?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you know the other side is perfect? No, because you haven't finished it.
No, it's not. Yeah, the other side is missing one on the lengthwise, the width, the ellipse. It's missing one row or one column. So, like, if you go over here,
I don't know where you are. Oh, there you are. Okay.
Should be out along this way. But that leaves us with a missing.
Well, remember, as we go farther out, it's going to extend farther, so you may have to add rows.
Except that I did the math on it.
So that's the spot.
The math matches in Minecraft and in Paint. I can't find the missing row anywhere. I can't find an additional row in Paint, and I can't find a missing row in Minecraft.
Okay.
And it obviously doesn't match up.
All right, so here, I'll start over here, and you look at the thing and tell me what. Okay, so this first section is two deep, right? The outermost row goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 out from center.
So not counting the center, it's 9.
Okay, and so then the next one continues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
And then the third one starts where the outer one left off, right? Yep. So it goes 8, so it matches that previous one, and then goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more.
Yep.
Okay, and so the next one matches that and goes 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Yep.
Next one matches that and then goes 1, 2, 3, 4 more.
Yep.
Matches and then 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Matches 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Same again and then 1, 2.
Yep.
All of these are matching on the inside, so I'm going to stop saying that. 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
1, 2.
Yep.
1, 2.
Yep.
1, 2.
Yep.
1.
Yep.
1, 2.
Correct.
1, 2.
Correct.
1.
Yep.
1, 2.
Yep.
1.
Yep.
1, 2.
Yep.
I feel like I'm doing a mic test. 1.
Correct.
1, 1, 1. So 3 ones.
Wait, just 3 ones?
I did. I stat. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 ones.
Correct.
And then the next one.
Hang on, I think there should be only 10. Let me count again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There should be 11, but I think I only put 10.
There should be 11. Okay, let me go back. Again, I'm going from center out to the right. So I had a 2, and then we have 1, 2,
That's
3,
it.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11.
I just counted 10. 10
Okay.
ones. 1, 2.
So this
3,
is the first one. I'm standing on the first one.
10. And, yep. And I am standing on number 10.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, 11 is the next one. See, you're looking
yeah, but
at.
this is like too deep.
No.
This is
You're looking at it from the wrong direction. Turn your picture on its side. I'm coming from center out to your thing, so it looks different from there. And see, you notice
Yeah,
which
but at
you
that
notice which
point,
direction
it
I'm
changes
facing.
direction.
Well,
Yeah,
I-
but look, it changes direction. It's no longer out you're measuring. At this point, it's in to the right.
No, I wasn't going to
So
keep
this
doing it.
doesn't
What I was going to say for the next one is the next set matches. It doesn't extend out. Is that correct?
What?
I'm standing on a square, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But this is not correct.
No,
this
what?
is where my missing piece is.
Right here?
Correct.
Is this one wrong?
No. You just took a 1 away.
Where's your missing one? Right here?
It's missing.
Right here.
No, it's missing.
We'll put it where it
That
needs
should
to be.
1.
So this should be 1, and then is your square? Now is it right?
Yes.
There you go. Not exactly sure how you figured out the mistake was there, because it looks to me like you just went from 10 ones to a ton
11
of...
ones.
No, you went to more than that. If you're looking at it coming out like I am, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Okay,
8,
we're
9,
looking at it the way
10,
you're looking at it,
11,
maybe.
12, 13, 14.
What?
Yeah, 14, and then this last one, I'm looking at how many out it goes from center.
Shit, wait a minute.
It's 14, I can tell you it's 14.
You and I aren't necessarily measuring the same thing, though.
Yeah, I think you're looking at it like this, right? Like the way I'm looking at it now, facing it with the
Oh, I don't know where you are.
look up to your left. See? So
Okay.
see the direction I'm facing now? I'm facing the rear of the ship.
Yeah, that's the way I've been facing the
Yeah.
entire time.
I was facing this direction in counting. I was facing the side of the ship. And when you look at it from the side, there are 14 ones. So you would need to turn your picture so that the front is on the left and the starboard side is at the top.
How the hell did we go from 10 to 13 when all I added was 1?
You added 1 along every single one. So basically you should have, if you're looking at it, if you just want to look at the individual row, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 two-shaped ones with the last with the last one beginning a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. So like if you're looking at like Tetris pieces. Do you see what I'm talking about in terms of shapes?
I'm sorry, I'm counting. I'm not paying attention to what you're saying.
Well, it works. You got it, and from here I could even see. Although I think it's just because the ellipsis is a different shape on this side.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. I mean, that's very similar. That line right there that you just did with all those twos looks very similar to one of the lines I was doing on the Death Star. I don't know why you just did that though.
No, I'm fixing it because I'm a perfectionist. Okay, just because it reaches, I could make it reach without making it match my ellipse.
Okay.
But yeah,
I think I need you to share the picture that you made,
maybe.
because When I was doing all that counting, I was facing out on purpose because I wanted to make sure that it matched facing this direction, not just the direction you're looking at.
Yeah, but okay, what's more important though is that if you're counting and I'm counting, we have to both be facing the same direction, regardless of anything else.
Well, whenever you've got this one perfect, you can go make the other side one. So is that one supposed to be by itself?
What?
There's a single block by itself. Okay, like that. So there's supposed to be a square breaking up. So there's supposed to be a square breaking up all the twos. Because it's twos
I'm
going
trying
this
to
direction
focus
also.
on this. It sounds like you're asking questions about, is this final product final? And I'm not in the middle. I'm not at a final product. I'm still working on.
Well, yeah, but you should be able to tell if there's a square there.
Yeah, but square is relative. Here's a square.
No, that's a box.
Here's a square.
Yeah.
Here's a square.
But,
I don't know what you. When you say square, I don't know what you mean.
No, you just
and I'm
made a.
focusing
You
on
made a.
fixing this.
Yeah.
And
you,
I don't
right now
have the
you
energy
have.
to try to
Right
figure
now
out what
you
you're-
have. I don't remember what you call it when you've got. One side of it is a rectangle, but then you look at it from the top, it's a square. I'm looking at it from the top, which is what the picture should be showing you from the top down. So, you just get it right, and then I'll help you on the other side.
Thank you.
I just don't know. I don't have your picture, so I don't know what it is you're trying to
Yeah.
make it match at.
3, 4, 5. All right. 1, 2, 5, and then a 3, and another 3. A 3. Or a 5. That should be a 5. 3, 4, 5. Dang it! But now we're back to being broken.
Can you send me the picture?
Yeah. I need to edit
And
it
here.
just a little bit first.
Okay.
Though.
Well, hang on. Before you do that, I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to face the same direction that you're facing and do that count again. Okay? So now I'm looking.
I'm fixing this picture so I can send it to you.
It's still going to require somebody looking directly at the picture. And then someone doing what I'm doing, floating over it and doing counts.
Mm-hmm.
Turned out the lights.
Hey, who turned out the lights? Hey, who turned out the lights?
So, does this stuff glow?
Which stuff?
Wait, that you're making the phaser array out of?
No. Do we want it to glow?
Oh, no, it doesn't need to glow. Because most of the time it's not, I don't think.
Yeah. That's
It only lights up when the phasers are being fired.
Yeah. Yeah, and then the light, the illumination doesn't illuminate the entire array. It has a spot that the spot of illumination, the
Moves,
range of
yeah.
illumination moves around. Yeah, around the
Based
array.
on where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go adjust the sun.
All right.
Stupid keyboard. Well, I'm sure that was exciting for you to listen to I Kill Omega. Sitting there counting blocks and figuring out where we did the math wrong.
Except that after we've done that, yeah, now I'm back to thinking the math is back where it was wrong.
Still not as bad as C-SPAN? Well, it takes a lot to be as bad as C-SPAN. I don't understand who gets enjoyment out of watching politicians do their job.
Oh, I watch C-SPAN all the time. It's not about enjoyment, it's about understanding the world and what's going on, giving context to things that are happening.
That's why I just read the rules. Because if you know the rules and then somebody does something, if you know what rule there it is they're enacting, you don't need to understand anything else. You just know that's the rule they're enacting. And then what's the effect of that? Watching them sit there and argue about which rule they're going to do and why they should do it, and that just that's not entertainment.
Well, so the reason I watch C-SPAN when I do,
especially also because they're all faking it on there.
If it's a topic that a news outlet is likely to give bias of some sort or not give complete information, then I want to see that.
You're gonna trust a politician to give you unbiased information?
No. I'm saying when you add a layer of.
I know when you add another layer of perspective, you get 2 layers of it, but you're getting a layer of deception from the out front. Politicians only care about politicians. Let's get that straight.
Yeah, but the only answer to that is ignore it altogether.
No, it's just understand that you're being lied to all the time because they want to stay in office.
But in order to better educate myself, rather than having the interpretation that the politicians are giving added on the interpretation that a news outlet is putting on it, adding on to my own interpretation, sometimes I feel like I'd like to take out one of the layers.
Well, then you should just go to Washington D.C. and take out C-SPAN because they are biased on what they show.
Yeah, but that's the available, like the legitimate, the capability of me doing that is a lot harder than just taking out one layer. So taking out 2 layers takes a lot more effort than just one. Does that make sense? For me to go to Washington and actually sit in on all of that.
It's the only way you won't be biased.
Yeah, but C-SPAN, the stuff that I watch on C-SPAN, they're not adding any information. It's not reporters reporting this. It's just
the politicians straight from their own mouths.
Correct.
Lying.
Well, of course they're lying. Never mind.
Yes. Go ahead and say it.
I don't know why people watch C-SPAN. I'm saying it removes one layer of complexity.
No, it moves one layer of deception. So that you have the original layer of deception.
I don't know that I'm.
I'm not going to say that they're doing it. I'm not going to say they're doing it with the intent to deceive, although any deception is done with the intent to deceive. Politicians want you to vote for them, so they're always going to present the best version of themselves in whatever situation is going to get them the most eyeball time and votes. So they're going to intentionally pick what they talk about based on what's going to sound best for them. There's a reason why everything always revolves around kids, or helping the veterans, or helping the poor. Because if you frame it in those terms, who can argue against you?
Alright, so this file that I sent you, if you just open it, it's not going to look proper. I have it open in Paint, that way I can zoom and see every single pixel without any kind of fuzziness created.
Yeah, I'm saving it now. Save image as Mike's all upperphase array, that works. Projects save. I like what I Kill Omega just said in the chat. It's like it's like the difference between learning about Scientology from an acolyte and learning it from Tom Cruise. Either way, it's crap.
Yes. But again, the only other answer is to stay ignorant on that particular crap, and that's not an option for me.
Well, no, the answer is to ignore both. Oh, hang on, I just knocked my microphones off. Is to ignore both of them and then go actually research the subject yourself. Don't let them tell you what to.
Okay, what I'm.
But then again, where can you find an unbiased source?
Okay, you and I. There's
way
a
overcomplicated
disconnect happening.
Surprise,
for me to know
surprise.
what a politician is saying. So you're assuming that I mean Oh, this is weather that I need to set.
Oh.
So, if I want to know what a politician is saying, I watch C-SPAN. If I want to know how he's phrasing things, how he or she is phrasing things, who he's arguing with, the credibility, the personal read on what the politician is saying.
Hang on, I gotta
I'm
just-
not talking about accuracy of the information they're discussing. I'm talking about what is being said, how it's being said. So the conversation, the debate, the hearing itself.
You want to
being the
watch them go down the rabbit hole.
Yes, when I want that information, I watch C-SPAN.
Okay.
So
Quick
for
question:
example-
inside Paint, how are you differentiating? Like with these longer rows, how can you tell which pixel is which? The shorter ones, it's easy.
Hang on. So let's see. Is Paint open for me yet? No, I closed it.
Yeah. And just so that our viewers
Open with
know what it is I'm looking at, I'll share it with them. Phaser. So you can see what it is we're looking at.
So it can't be Paint 3D, by the way.
No, I'm just looking at basic Paint. I don't like
Yeah.
Paint 3D. Pardon me.
Uh-oh, my computer's crashing.
Uh-oh. We'll see you when you get back.
Yeah. All I'm trying to do is click open with.
There you
and
go.
it's
So
losing its brain.
that's what, oh, sometimes it does that. You just give it a second. So that's what we're looking at right there. So I'm just trying to figure out what method he's doing to look at
Alright.
it.
So click on brushes, click on size, choose the smallest size, and you get a pixel sized shape. So I just use that to measure.
Okay. All right. So are you ready to look at that while I count from the side? We're looking now that I'm looking at it the way you're looking at it.
Uh-oh, hang on, I think I know what the problem is.
Well, that's good. Let me make this go away, so you can actually see. Oh, I need to have that back on top so I can see it.
Nope, okay, that's correct.
Okay. So I'm gonna start from the middle right here, right? Let's go together. We know 4, 5.
Well, I've
six.
already identified where the disconnect is, where the missing thing
Where is it?
I just
If you can
haven't
if
fixed
you
it
let me
properly.
come see.
4, 5, 6,
Yeah, maybe.
11.
Okay, so I'm gonna look at this right here. I'm trying to see where you have all these 4s. There they are. There's 4 or 3. Those are 3s. Looks like so. 3, 10, 2, 3. Okay, so that's right so far. And then so 3, 2 3s, 2 3. 1, 2, 3 squares. 1, 2, 3 squares, and then a block of 2. That's right. And then 2 squares and a block of 2. That's right. 2, a square and a block of 2. That's right. And then it looks like another square. Square. Yep. 2 squares, a block of 2, square, block of 2, square. Okay, so far, it's right. And then it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's correct. And then it's
I think this is it.
a single one and then a square. I'm just double checking, so I'll let you know if I see anything different. A single one and then a square. And then 2 sideways 2s, so yeah. Or I could just say a single one and then that's 2 sideways 2s. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. and the rest matches. So there you go. Yep, you have done it.
Ugh.
Is this the same
Yeah, it
ellipse?
was-
Is this the same ellipse we're using for this one right here, or did you just draw a larger one?
No. So what I'm doing is I'm taking an empty paint screen
Mhm.
and skewing or resizing the paint. You know, I'm not keeping the same aspect ratio, but I'm resizing the paint filled
Mhm.
to the exact number of pixels horizontally and vertically as that layer.
Ah, okay. Well, if
And
you
then I draw an ellipse filling the entire space.
well, now that I have this, I can finish building this one if you want to do one for the layer I just built.
Sure.
Say that's one big giant rectangle, and I can
Yeah.
continue working on this until you're done with that, and then I can build the next layer.
Surely. Okay, so now I need
What block is this that you're using
which block?
for the phaser
Oh,
array?
that is yellow terracotta. It was the closest to what I remember the color should be.
Okay, yellow terracotta. Ah, you stupid. I need to get a new keyboard. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sure. I think I went too far on that. 1, 2, 3,
Mm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's only supposed to be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the next one goes to 11. That's what I need it to be. Once I know we have a section right, I prefer to just reference that than keep looking back at the picture.
Yeah.
3 and 3.
And 20, 31, so 63.
Yeah. And then another 3.
And 10, 20, 30, 40, 51.
And you think the spacebar is frustrating doing this? Try writing stuff. Okay, so now it's should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. Two, 3. 4, 5. 5 squares. How's work going today, I kill Omega? I didn't have work today because I had an appointment in the morning and I was supposed to have an appointment in the afternoon. But the appointment in the afternoon got cancelled. Postponed, I should say. So it's 2 a square and then
Uh-oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That was way off. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Today picked up. It's died down for a bit. Well, is it a good thing that it's died down? I don't know. Yep. Okay, and then 1, 2 threes that are on top of each other.
What the hell?
And then a 3 like that. And then another 3 on top. Like that.
Oh.
2 threes on top, 2 threes on top, and then another 3 like these. You gonna turn the sun back on?
Yeah, sorry. The one that I just, this level right here, Paint's
4.
trying to make it a skewed, lopsided ellipse. It's not 4 equal sides, but rather it's a...
Yeah. Well, I Kill Omega, I always approve of using your time to sketch. But I may be biased. So 4. Let's make sure we get this right. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4. And yep. The next one is 3 with it being twice like this. What are you working on today? Still more shit? Oh, you said you were working on a citadel from a distance. That's right. 3, 4, 3, 3. Stop taking my finger on this thing so I can keep track of it. 3 and 3, and then 2 4s. Oh, no. And the next one should be a 5. Distance, skyscape with citadel, doing some trickiness with distance and scale. That sounds fun. Okay, so we have 4s. There's, so I need a 5. Oh, too far. Yep. 5. And then another 5, just like so. Oh, so look at that. Now it's nice. And then
8, 6, 7, 5, 3, 0, 9.
you're not helping at all. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be a square there. Yep. So 5, 5. No, no. Yep. 4, 4, 5, 5. Square. 4, 4. And that can't be. If that's 4. Let me back up a second and check something before I go too far. So 3 squares. Yep. And then a rectangle of 6. 6. And then a square. And then 2 rectangles of 6. Got it. 2 rectangles of 6. A rectangle of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rectangle of 8. Yep. Another rectangle of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. A rectangle of 10. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then looks like this one needs to be a rectangle of 12. 4, 5, 6. So let's make sure here. So 10, 10, 6. Okay. This is why I don't like doing it with your picture. Actually, one of the things I could do is come over here, because I did this last time. Just getting to the point where it's so far over there that it's hard to keep it right. No, it's hard to make sure when you're looking across the way that they match.
Oh, yeah.
2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. Okay, so that looks like it's where it's from. Fly all the way across and see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then it's just the one big one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, and then 8, and then the big one across. 2 5s and 8, and then a big one. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you want to come here for a second?
Yep. Let me finish carving these 2 rows up. All right. So you are around. Okay, over here.
I'm at the rear. I'm at the butt.
Boy. Uh-oh.
Did you go towards the front?
No. Okay, so what I do, because paint has the potential of not
Where are you?
keeping the quadrant of the ellipse exactly the same, I repeat the pattern from a single quadrant and just, in my mind, shift it. Does that make sense?
Where
so I
are
don't
you?
repeat I'm behind you and above and behind.
Oh, hi. Yeah, so the way it's supposed to be is this has to be taken out to a point. Let's see, what's this one? Yeah, and that one is incorrect. To the left of me is incorrect. So this one over here matches the one on the other side.
Yep. So then just invert it.
No, what I'm
laterally.
saying, what I'm saying is I have to add. I have to put this here now.
Oh, wait a minute.
Exactly. I'm gonna go to the other side and see how many
No, because
squares.
there should be.
Hold on. I'm just gonna go over here and see how many squares are on the row next behind it. It's 2. Yeah, see over here it's. Yeah, over here you just put it too deep the whole way. So that's what you did. Which, okay, but on this side over here it's not matching. Like if I do that on this side, like you just did, too deep the whole way, it messes up. Oh, never mind. I see what was going on. That is correct. No, it is correct.
Okay.
Bleh. Yeah, I know what I was looking at. I wasn't looking at the big long one as a too deep one.
Ah,
Is that 8 squares? So 16 total?
there we go. Well, it's 9 then 8, then 2 5s, or 9 then 8 then 5.
No. I was looking at them in rectangular chunks. So it should be like 10, 10, and then 16. Although
I
it
don't
looks
have
like
Yeah, 9,
yeah. See, now it's looking different.
5, 4, 4, 3, 3. Yeah, 5, 4, 4, 3, 3. So 10, 8, 8, 6, 6. 18, 16, 10, 8, 8, 6, 6. Yeah. So at least to where I'm standing, it's correct.
It should be correct the rest of the way, but just
I'm sure it is. I mean, it looks fine. And even if it's not exactly the same, as long as it looks fine.
sure. Whatever gets your perfectionist side happy. Okay.
Well, yeah, because what we're doing is definitely not a perfectionist.
If only we could have an actual pattern instead of having to make one up on our own, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That would be ideal.
Okay, so I've done the 4 and the 2 6, 2 blocks of 6, 2 blocks of 6.
Excuse me.
A square, a block of 6. And then 3 squares. Yes, that's correct. And then a 2. Squares and a 2, 2 squares, a 2, 2 squares, a 2. A square, a 2, a square. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's nice. And then square. And then 2, 2, square, 2, 2, square, square, square. So 3 squares. No, more than that. 5 squares. So you had a call today about a job. How'd it go?
No, I did not get the call. I called saying, "Hey, okay, so you know who the customer is, yes?"
Yes, I know who the customer is.
So the customer told the primary contract holder about a month ago that I was approved.
Mm-hmm.
And both the primary and my subcontractor company called me at the time saying, "Hey, you're good to go if you want to come." And I said, "All right, well, I'll get back to you the end of September, beginning of October to give you a yes or no." So we were waiting on info from the CDC for Amy, but they still haven't given her a definite yes. And so it was more of implementing a timeline where how long am I going to wait to hear back from the CDC before I just go ahead and take the job.
Yeah.
So she's still going to be taking whatever job the CDC, offers, but in order to make sure I get back to Georgia in time to maintain my residency requirements for college for in-state tuition.
Okay.
I went ahead and I called my company saying, "Hey, I've decided I'm going to go ahead and take the job." So I got her voicemail, and so I was just waiting to see if she was going to call back today.
Oh, okay.
I think it's far enough into the day that she's not going to call back today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're back.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just me. Oh. Take a little stretch. It's always good to do your stretches, kids. Of course, I stand all day, so probably a little bit it's not as necessary for me. Nope, I stand. I've been doing it for several years now. I wrote my entire the current version that became the novel that I Kill Omega did the beautiful cover for, all at a standing desk. And I switched over at work to a standing desk too. It does wonders for your core. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep. And then let's do 2, 2. It's hard to tell sometimes that there's an illusion of when you're looking at this the ellipse in paint, there is an illusion, an optical illusion of blocks that are there. You can play tricks with the eyes. 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm gonna do that again with. So, 1,
Whole
2,
thing, Mike.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I was just commenting about how there's an optical illusion looking at paint.
Mm-hmm. About how it looks like it's supposed to be.
There's an illusion on the color. Like there's when I'm looking closer along where like the red on the inside is, there's like these gray phantom blocks that aren't really there.
If it's super ultralight,
yeah, it is.
Then it may need to be clear, and I just didn't block it out. Remember how I said I needed to edit it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was evening things out that paint didn't do by itself, and so I may have just missed something.
Okay, so all right. Let me make sure I did that one right. You know what? Just to be safe, I'm gonna go over here and check something. So that's not there. Maybe it's supposed to be a block. Yeah, that's what it is. It's supposed to be a block. Okay. That's why it didn't look right. So this one is supposed to be a block. Okay, so when you look at it like that, so then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There we go. And then see how that does now. So I did that, and then it's a square with another one sticking out this side. So it's 3. That's the problem with big builds. They take a lot of building.
Mm-hmm. A lot of counting, a lot of recounting, a lot more recounting. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. All right, what is after that? We have 3, 3.
3, 3 stacked. 3, 3 stacked.
So I get on the plane tomorrow
I get
for
on.
another convention.
I'm going to New Mexico next week
Ooh.
to get a car.
Okay. You guys don't have any car right now, right?
That is correct. Which makes getting to appointments at the VA really expensive.
Yeah, because you have to take the buses.
No, that takes up the entire day if I do that. Like, I will lose the entire day. If I have to go to a single appointment downtown, I will lose the entire day. I will spend the entire day on the transit system. If I do Uber, it costs essentially a day's wage. But at least then I can still get other things done.
Yeah.
Like working. So it looks like 3 sets of stacked 3s. Stacked 3, stacked 3. And then the last one here is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. just do Zoom Zoom?
I did.
I haven't heard that in forever. Do they still do that? That was Mazda, right?
It was Mazda, and yes, they do.
I don't watch TV, so
Yeah.
when Zoe goes to places where they have TV on and there's commercials, she just sits there mesmerized, like,
By the commercials.
yeah, she's like, what is this? What are they doing? Like, they're trying to convince
Advertising.
people to buy things. Like, do they really want them? Like, no, they don't. So why would they buy them? Is it because the TV's telling them to buy it? Like, why would people do that?
That's so. I am not these companies are selling our private data to other companies. I don't get as worked up about that as many people. In fact, sometimes I will offer a reason why I think it's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because so we get advertising, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's companies will pay for advertising, and the more
And
targeted
they've
it is.
unfortunately warped the minds of networks to the point that they can't jump into the next century properly. But go ahead.
So advertising is there, period. It is there. For
Mhm.
the time being, there is no other option that are realistically about to just suddenly be there and
Mhm.
be common. So if I have to watch advertising, because there will be I use an ad blocker, but I will clear sites that I use regularly.
So that they
So
get
that
funding.
Yeah, so because I want them to get funding. I am not against companies collecting my browsing data if the return I get for that happening is more targeted advertising.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to get advertising, I want it to be things that I actually have interest in.
Yeah.
Which then in turn helps out the companies getting the advertising revenue and doing the advertising, and it helps me because if I'm going to see advertising, it's at least going to be things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, you don't
So
get that
the
on
way I look
TV.
at it is that- Huh?
You don't get that on TV.
No.
The ads that they show are just like, I'm looking. I'm going, man, you guys missed your demographic
Statistics.
entirely.
Uh-huh.
The commercials
Yeah.
we were watching in Trek, like, yeah, you're trying. They're trying to reach out. They were basically they were of two minds with who they wanted to reach out to. They wanted to reach out to traditional Trekkies who are older and more affluent, so they have the money to
SUV
spend,
ads.
or lots of Buick, Chrysler ads, stuff like that, luxury vehicle ads. But at the same time, they were trying to market them as being these
New hip
tech savvy kinds of cars that young people want. Like, you just basically what you did was you lost both audiences because you mixed your message, and meanwhile Michelle and I are sitting there going, so since we've muted this, what do we want to talk about? We pretty much mute every ad that comes on. They're not, and we usually don't even watch them. We're like tacitly paying attention just so we can see that something's changed on the screen, so then we know when to turn it back on. So with us, they're missing us entirely.
Something that Hulu was very big about for a while, and they still do it, but to a lesser extent, was giving you ad options. They say, hey, we are getting ad revenue from these companies. We're going to let you pick which ad you have to watch. Not you want to watch, but you have to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I never, the Hulu model never worked for me. I understood what they were trying to do, but it just never did anything for me, just because it was, I didn't want, there was nothing that they were offering, which was basically new content, that I needed to, I absolutely had to have.
So they've changed their function, and it makes it less appealing to me. But then again, I don't use them the same as I had prior now. Anyway, at first, Hulu was free,
Mm-hmm.
and you had, like 2 or 3 episodes worth of previous run content. So current shows, the most recent 2 or 3 episodes, and you would have less advertising than if you had watched it on broadcast television. but still you had advertising so they could offer it to you at no charge.
Mm-hmm.
That appealed to me, and so I used it for that. And then they were like, hey, we've heard feedback from you saying that you want more available than just the last couple episodes, so we're going to offer a paid model where you have all of the content from that show. And when that was the case, I paid and I loved it. But they started melding them, and so now you have paid content, but only, but restricted by the networks.
Yeah, and the whole reason that Hulu was doing what they were doing was because the networks were forcing them to do it. Like, we're not going to give you our content unless you pay. You get the people to you pay us, and then we're going to limit it. And that's the issue. That's the mistake I think CBS is making, is that they are limiting themselves like they forced Hulu to limit themselves for years.
Correct.
By saying we're only going to put out so many.
Yeah, the first two Hulu models I found incredibly successful, and then where they went from there is just fail boat.
Yeah, that's the word for it. Somewhere along the way, this circle arced too soon. I'm not really sure where it did. Yeah, when I went into CBS All Access and I went to look up, I just went for one of their more recent popular shows, Big Bang Theory, just to see what was available. And they had 5 episodes of the previous season. That's it.
See, and I got no episodes when I looked.
Yeah, and then the season prior to that wasn't. They didn't have anything else available. There was nothing else available for the entire thing. It's like, how can you offer up this all access thing and then limit how many episodes of your shows that people can watch? It's like, you're just doing what you're doing to Hulu. You're doing to yourself what Hulu did, and you just. It's like I keep saying, networks are too old. And they're not. They're making decisions based on what's going to make them the most money, not what's going to keep the most customers.
Yeah, and they're going to fail. They are going to crash and burn against Amazon Prime and Netflix. They just will. It's going to take time because as long as they have intellectual property rights.
Yeah. See, the thing is, companies like ABC is starting to force their way out of their deals with like Netflix so that they can push their own thing, but it's just all that's going to do is cost them customers. The customers aren't going to go to there because of that. They want to have all the content available in one source. They don't want to keep paying for extra things, and the companies are going to discover real quick how many people were paying for an a la carte package to get their stuff, but they won't pay for it separately.
Yep. An all-in-one package, yes, they'll pay. But even so, yeah, there was this. The networks have failed to recognize something. Broadcast television was great. It was advertising funded, federally subsidized for the public broadcast stuff, and then some news.
If it wasn't for honestly, if it wasn't for federal subsidies, broadcast television would have died decades ago.
Yeah.
And we're talking back before cable came along. If it wasn't for they're like trains. Trains have never been anything but federally subsidized. They've never made a profit.
The next vacation I take or the next trip I take, I want to do it by train.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I had done the Seattle trip by train.
Have you looked at the prices? Those things are.
Yes, I have, and that's why I haven't done it.
And that's after the government has subsidized them to bring the price down.
Yeah, so it's no bus riding is a little bit cheaper than plane rides depending on where and when.
Yeah, something to keep in mind when you look at that.
Trains are more expensive.
Like, if you people are considering doing a train ride for your next trip so you can sleep along the way, realize that those prices that you're looking at are the subsidized prices.
Yeah, the train and the ride, and I wasn't even talking about the sleeper cars. Sleeper car prices are higher than plane tickets.
Much higher.
Yeah, no, I want to do it for the experience before it's completely gone. You know, because
'Cause it's not-
Amtrak, for example, year after year is just cutting more and more lines, cutting this car, that car, this car, that car. They're,
Yeah.
you know, I
Their
think I
their
read.
their their primary advocate in government left.
Oh, really? Who was that?
Biden.
Oh,
He intentionally would take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. He would intentionally take Amtrak to go back to his district when he was in the Senate, just so they could keep it alive.
well, for me, to me, passenger train travel. So cargo travel is obviously another matter altogether. Oh crap! All right, I am answering this.
Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going, Susie? I'm doing pretty good, actually.
Oh, welcome back, Chris.
Yep,
Kill
I
Omega,
wasn't
whatever you want to go by.
sure I was going to hear back from you today.
Okay, so
Okay.
you've missed our fun conversation about why TV networks are failing. Broadcast TV networks. Optimus Prime. Really, Optimus Prime? That's what you want. That's what you want us to call you. There's the mistake. There's an extra one of these.
Okay, sorry.
Well, it's not just that they're all pushing the same crap. It's that broadcast networks have for so long been so heavily subsidized by the government because of the thing. Which enterprise was the next generation Shadow Snow Ninja? The one we're building. The Enterprise D.
Yep,
Um,
NCC.
I'll show you real
1701.
quick. In OBS, let me transition. That's what we're working on right now. And I'm working on the phaser array. So we are doing a top-down. I don't have a top-down one loaded into the thing just now, but that's the one we're working on. And I am currently working on that circle, that ellipse right there. I'm fixing out one. I think the bottom right quadrant of it. So yep, that's what we're working
Cable
on.
channels.
And we're discussing
okay.
cable TV.
Yeah, cable channels are okay.
Data wanting to be a real boy. Nice, Chris. Nice. I want to be a real boy.
Cable channels are okay with keeping a pay model when they're embracing the cord cutter mentality, because you've always had to pay for cable content.
Oh, where's my picture at? There it is.
And so having people continue paying for cable content isn't a big surprise. It isn't a big shock. However, broadcast television has always been free to the consumer. And for them to for them to incorporate themselves, sell rights to places like Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, it still feels to the cable cutters as they're not paying any additional charge. And so I think that would be their smart model.
Mm-hmm.
But what CBS did
Smart.
by saying for you to get to us, you have to pay, they're introducing a paywall that they have never had on their content.
Yeah. And that's why this is going
Don't
to
see
fail
that
for them.
being successful. Yeah.
That's why this is going to fail for them, because they're looking at it as just people will just pay us because they've always paid. They've paid cable prices. Yeah, well, paying for an a la carte cable thing kind of thing, or a bit like pay for one low fee for cable and just get all this stuff in there. Yeah, that's different from paying for each individual channel.
Yeah. Yep.
They're misreading.
People
They're misreading
me.
the cord cutter model is what they're doing.
Yeah. There's going to be people like me that do pay for CBS All Access to watch Star Trek Discovery. But
That's not going to convert
You
long
are-
term.
exactly, you are shrinking your potential customer base so drastically with this model that it's not going to work.
Trekkies are not enough to keep your model alive.
No. And,
Not-
and you've seen
and they
how
never
many
were.
Trekkies are already not paying for it.
Well, that's just because I mean, okay, let's go back in our history here a little bit. The original series failed on TV because nobody watched it.
Yeah.
I mean, just plain nobody watched it. It became
Long
famous. It became famous in syndication and reruns, which is why people don't remember the horrible last season because they never showed the horrible last season. One,
Well, and then
two,
you've got
three,
people who are Trekkies that
four,
were
5.
millennials and even some Generation Xers that their introduction to Trek was
TNG,
TNG.
which
Which,
even
by
then,
the way, for everybody, one of the reasons we are building the Enterprise D here is because today, I believe, actually, today's the 28th, yeah. So today is the 30th anniversary of Star Trek The Next Generation.
oh, I was in Alaska. I didn't even know, like at the time, like getting stuff up there. I mean, the only reason we got things like Disney and HBO is because up there, cable included those because there wasn't enough people up there to warrant having an extra pay, extra service, and that we got the cable for just living on base. It was free with the home we lived in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then another 5. So now Omega, well, for a service like an individual channel, that's backlash. They're scared of the cable cutters, so they're saying, oh, you don't want to play with our corporate allies? Well, then we'll just make you have to pay a premium to watch our content without cable. Yeah, well,
Problem is,
they did that with Hulu, and
first time they've
Hulu
ever
never
directly
competed.
charged. Yeah, it's the first time they've ever directly charged for content.
Yeah, they got away with making cable companies and Hulu make you charge. And they're betting on an aging crowd that has never... the whole reason we have Star Trek is because of TOS. And no one tuned into it enough at the beginning to keep it on TV. 1, 2, 3. This is supposed to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, yay! That one's done. Finally.
Oh,
I
the
think we
phaser
just-
array is gone? Is done?
Yes, it is. The phaser array
Sweet,
is
and
done.
I'm almost done with this level.
That's the bridge level you see up there on the top. Well, Hulu was still showing a lot of the same content people were getting from cable that they were rejecting in the first place. Yeah, but the difference is they were either not paying, or when they did start paying for it, they were paying only $6 a month for it. And some people did that, but, I don't know anybody, though, who had Hulu and didn't have Netflix. Because they kind of were hitting
No.
both sides of hitting it from both
I did
sides.
both.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wanted Netflix to watch the long, drawn-out stuff that they could binge and stuff, and then they wanted Hulu to keep up with what was currently going on. I've never been someone, except for when Stargate and Battlestar Galactica were on when I lived in California. That was the only time for about 16 months. That was the only time I actually kept up with live content. Even football, I stopped watching live. I would just DVR it all. Now I just do Game Pass. So. How's that one going?
I think it's done.
Done?
Wait, nope, not quite.
Not quite. So I'll start bricking out the next level.
All right. 4, 5, 6.
What about you, Shadow Ninja? Do you watch Trek at all? I know you were curious about the ship, so I'm assuming there's some Trek interest there. I know Chris hasn't. He said he doesn't watch as much of it anymore. You watched TNG as a kid, as a teenager, but you only watched TNG. Wow. I've watched them all, even the ones that were like not my favorites. I watched them because it was Trek and I wanted to consume it. I even consumed. I ended up enjoying the experience. It wasn't like it was objectionable TV to be watching. It was more in the same universe. I like the universe, so. But I even watched Enterprise and liked it. So on 11 probably. You were a kid when you watched it. I've seen a few episodes of TNG. That's it. Firefly was better. Firefly is a different kind of show, though.
Yes.
Star Trek has always tried to be a utopian version of Earth's future. Firefly was not that.
Yeah,
so,
Firefly is dystopian.
And it was a Western in space. TNG was never that. Star Wars, comparing Firefly to Star Wars is more apropos. They are more similar than, and in terms of a TV series, I would say Firefly has outdone just about everything TV-wise that Star Wars has done. But I would also argue that Rebels is really good, so that could... And it also got more than one season. So, but you'll get no arguments from me that Firefly is one of the best particularly sci-fi TV series ever made.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said this yesterday. Well, in the real Firefly, the heroes of Star Trek would be the bad guys. This is also true, because they would have been the smugglers. Yeah, they would have been the Alliance.
And
although the Alliance acted more like the Romulans in how they enforced things than the Federation.
yeah,
The Alliance had no problem just plain forcing you to do something, whereas, I mean, a lot of Trek show scripts relied on the fact where like the entire drama hinged on the fact that the Federation wouldn't force you to do something. Well, yes, they were authoritarian in terms of you're talking Napacino, you're talking more about Starfleet, because they were also playing as a military force.
Yeah, but the Federation would allow their citizens to do stuff that Starfleet was never allowed to do.
Yeah. So
it was
I see the comparison, but it's not a perfect comparison. The Empire is more Alliance than the Federation was.
Yeah, the Federation was not authoritarian. It was authoritarian
in the military
implementation
structure.
of the military structure. But
and even then, they were so loose with some of those things that they did for the sake of because TV has never really been able to wrap their brains around an authoritarian structure like the military, because they don't like it. That's why they're always making fun of it and making things that pick on it or distort it or something like that, because they don't like the military.
The military is indentured servitude.
It's the closest that and student loans.
And what?
Student loans.
Yeah. Oh my.
Some people will like to say, hey, look, Fork, build a gyroscope. You want us to build a gyroscope? How's it going? Fork? We are not building a gyroscope. We are constructing the Enterprise. I think you already know that.
No, I need to count with.
I think my introduction, I suppose the anti-authoritarian streak may prefer Serenity over Enterprise. But see, again, your Serenity is more like the Millennium Falcon than it is the Enterprise. It always was. And even on that one, Mal had his moments of being the authoritarian figure when he had to. I mean, I just watched it again with somebody recently. I think it was Katie or Katerina, somebody. I just watched it recently, and I was showing. We were basically introducing her to science fiction. But I remember there were scenes with Mal, like, that dude means business. He may be a smuggler, but he's in charge. Yeah, he's a flawed hero. In many ways, Firefly is as a single season is better than most single seasons of Trek. But if you want to talk about sheer number of how's that? Is that a little bit better there, Fork? If you want to talk about sheer number of we had to do some adjustments. Was it last night we were on? There we go. Let me turn me much better. I had moved the microphone so I could get close to that picture that you shared. So and it was still back. But if you want to talk about that, like episode to episode, I would say that Trek has many more better single ship in a bottle kind of like thing, but not like ship in a bottle episodes, but just sheer number of better episodes than Firefly. It's not a fair comparison though, because Trek has so much more. It's like it'd be easier to compare Trek to Doctor Who.
Yes.
Firefly was lightning in a bottle. Yeah, I don't have a mixer yet, so but I can. Give me just a second. I can. Where'd it go? I can turn me up a little bit more in OBS. So
Are they trying to make me louder?
no, it's me this time.
Oh,
So I don't.
okay.
With you, I don't know. Your system is different. I can't control that. So
No, yeah, I would have to control that on my own.
yeah. Doctor Who, I think has moments of being better than Trek. I agree, but I don't know. I've gone back and tried. There is more horrible Doctor Who than there is horrible Trek. I mean, let's just face it. You go back and watch some of the older Doctor Who. Some of that is a chore to watch. I've tried several times, and it's like, oh, I'm forcing myself to watch this. But I've always enjoyed Doctor Who. When you turned it up on
Yeah,
OBS, you added static. Personally, I thought it was better before the OBS.
Well, it's like
Okay.
Stargate. So I'm watching, because I play Werewolf, Werewolf Mafia. That sort of deception game. You know, I'm part of a
I can
Facebook
do-
group where we play online games that are themed based on different, sci-fi, fantasy
Mm-hmm.
realms, universes. And so right now I'm in the. Well, I guess I just got killed. I got eaten at night. But
You got
playing a Stargate Atlantis, and I've never been able to really get into the Stargate series, SG-1, and I never watched Universe, and so now I'm just watching Atlantis for the first time. Great as a series, but the one-for-one good episode compared to Star Trek is impossible.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot more Trek than there is Stargate. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed Stargate SG-1. Not all of its episodes were the best, but there were story arcs that they were doing in SG-1 long before Trek started doing story arcs. They experimented it with DS9, and they did a little bit more with Voyager, but Enterprise and Discovery are the ones where the serial model is really gonna show itself.
Yeah.
Trek, the original series was horrible about having bad things happen to people, and then in the next episode it was like nothing had ever happened. Yep, I will definitely post some pictures. I have taken several screenshots, Fork, so you go man that grill, and I'll take some pictures again and post some to Discord later. An outsider who didn't watch it in its time, there's so much in Trek that I can say it makes it a little hard to get into. Doctor Who is somewhat the same. Yeah, going back and trying to watch the original series, it's hard, and I've had to force myself to watch those the first, not just parts of the first season, but really the end of season 2 and all of season 3. It's just horrible. And I mean, that ship was behind the scenes. That ship was just coming apart at the seams. So I think TNG definitely did better in that, but if you go back and watch TNG season 1 and 2, I mean, Shadow, you really like TNG, so I would be interested in your opinion on watching the first 2 seasons of TNG, but it's rough. They were still finding their way, and I don't think they really found their way until season 3. And interestingly, season 3 has 2 of the fan-voted top 5 episodes of TNG. So
I love season 6. I love seasons 5 and 6.
For me, season 3 through season 6 were all that was their 7. I think they knew they were ending, so they
tried too much with 7.
yeah. That said, the finale of TNG, still my favorite of Trek finales. Voyager would be a close second, with the fact that they finally did an episode where you didn't have the wrap up, where everything went pedal to the metal until the very last instant, and then there was the climax, and then the no bit was like 30 seconds, maybe a minute long, and then it was over, and you had to go read the books to find out what happened next. I don't recall having much problem with the earlier seasons, but I didn't think the pilot. Oh no! If you want to talk about pilots, we just discussed this the other night. Discovery's pilot is by far the best Trek pilot ever.
Well, okay.
Trek pilot. I didn't say best pilot.
No. My favorite Trek pilot
Is the one that never aired.
Well, until The Cage.
Yeah, The Cage is really good. I did enjoy The Cage. I don't think The Cage was necessarily better than I don't think it was necessarily better than Caretaker, which was Voyager's first episode. So, but it was, but Discovery was better than, and Cage was better than Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah, Encounter at Farpoint was just rough.
The thing I like about Discovery is Discovery takes place 10 years before Kirk and the Enterprise started their 5-year mission.
So Spock is in command of. Well, Spock is on the Enterprise.
Spock is on the Enterprise with Captain Pike.
Yeah.
So we could at some point encounter the Enterprise, the original NCC 1701 Enterprise with Pike and Spock on it.
Could you imagine a outsider's perspective of the Cage happening?
That would be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting. So here's a question for you, Chalice Mike. Or any I Kill Omega if you've watched the other Treks, the Trek finales. So you talk original series, TNG, DS9, Voyager, and Enterprise. Obviously, we don't know what Discovery's finale is yet. Of those finales, which ones did you think were the best?
Oh, TNG, hands down.
Okay, after TNG, like rank them.
The original series is, if you look at Generations as the true finale for the original series.
No, I can't. You can't look at that as they were. That was them. That was them trying to give Kirk a better ending than he had in the.
Yeah, because it was garbage.
Because you remember the movies continued it. So, I mean, technically, you could say, but they always differentiate the finales of series with the movie runs, because for one thing, they blew up the original Enterprise in. They blew up the original Enterprise in the first movie. So they weren't even using the same... Oh, wait a minute. You've been shaving over here, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go wipe out some of this out here. Yeah, so... TNG definitely still my favorite finale. I loved All Good Things. It brought so many things back together that they did... Which ironically means you have to have Encounter at Farpoint in order to have All Good Things. It's one of those... I always enjoyed the fact that they did that. And I'm glad that Q was there at the end. I'm really disappointed that they never brought Q into the movies like they originally planned on doing. He was supposed to be the one after First Contact. They were supposed to introduce him at the end of First Contact to, as the upcoming villain. Voyager, again, that was a really good one. Primarily because, again, they did a good job of tying everything together like DS9 did. But DS9 tried too hard with the we want everyone to have an ending kind of thing. Like it very much felt like a Cheers goodbye episode, Cheers finale, and I didn't enjoy that. So DS9 obviously would be down below Voyager. Original series is clearly the worst. So then there comes the Enterprise finale. Now, if you want
I actually liked Enterprise altogether. Even when it was first airing, I liked Enterprise.
Yeah, well, but. The issue I have is if you take the straight finale of Enterprise as the finale, then it's as bad as DS9's or as bad as the original series.
But if you watch it,
but it provided you a similar element.
Context.
Yes,
good.
That's what I was going to say. If you watch it, if instead you look at the the penultimate episode of Enterprise as the finale. That's a much better ending to the series. And then if you take the extra episode on the end and watch it in the middle of the Pegasus episode instead of watching it by itself later, if you do it like that, then it's a much better episode. It doesn't have the same effect. Like that finale, the second to the last episode, the penultimate one, that in Enterprise, every time I watch that one, I tear up. All Good Things I remember. I mean, I actually watched. I was commenting to someone earlier today that I thought that the Discovery premiere was the first Trek that I ever actually watched live on television, because I watched all the rest post, because by the time I came back from I do remember watching a few Voyager episodes, but most of Voyager I watched recorded because I was at college. I do, and even The Caretaker I watched after. So there was like a couple episodes after a Voyager's first season that I watched live, but not many. But I do remember tuning in and watching the TNG finale when I lived in Georgia at the time, and I remember watching the fan choice special before it, which was all the fan voted best episodes, which were in order. Number 5 was the Scotty episode where they brought Scotty back from the transporter.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 was The Inner Light, which honestly I think should have been number 2.
I love.
Yeah. Number 3 was Future Enterprise, which I didn't like. I never liked Tasha Yar. I did not like them bringing her back, so I didn't think that one should be in there. But whatever, that's a season 3 episode.
And it's one that enough people like, but whatever.
Yeah. And then not all good things, because it hadn't come out yet. The Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and 2 as the top 2. And the end of Best of Both Worlds Part 1 with Picard standing there as Locutus, announcing that their future was over, and then Riker saying "Mr. Worf, fire." That moment is still one of the top 50 TV Guide moments in TV history. So I mean, I got that one right there. I perfectly agree. Although All Good Things I think was actually better. So if they did an updated version, they would have to account for that. Shadow Ninja, what was your favorite TNG episode? I know you just said you like The Inner Light. How about you, Cellist Mike?
Well, my favorite Star Trek moments aren't TNG.
I know, but what is your favorite TNG episode? Because we're talking about TNG. We're building the Enterprise. It's the 30th anniversary of Trek Premiere.
I would have to look at a list and pick. I don't know that I've ever formulated a favorite TNG episode. I mean, I've formulated a favorite story arc in the Trek series, the Trek universe. But I've never formulated specific favorites other than that.
Well, we know you like Inner Light.
It is. It's one of my favorites.
I kind of liked some of the... I was a much bigger fan of... I really liked Data before I met him. It's a combination of things now. I haven't really gone back and watched TNG. Okay, hold on. Shadow Ninja. My favorite episode was the one where Wes stops time and then departs on his mission adventure. That's a season 7 episode with the traveler in the form of the Native American guide, as opposed to the version he had in season 1. I think it was like episode 2 where no man had gone before, or something like that. I think that's it. But yeah, that was a good. It was a good send off for that character. Honestly, I thought Ensign Ro got a better send off than Tasha Yar ever did. The preemptive strike episode, which was the penultimate episode of TNG, that was a better send off than Tasha Yar got, which is why I think they made Future Enterprise, because they wanted to give her a better.
Fantastic character.
Mm-hmm.
The actress was good, but the storyline behind the character was good.
Yeah.
It was one of the introductory story arcs
to the Bajorans.
To introduce the darkness. Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
The post Roddenberry.
Yeah. You're right. She did come in after Roddenberry left. Also, that was our intro. Really, that was when they brought in Ro. That was the switch where they started really focusing on the Cardassians. I almost said Kardashians. The Cardassians.
Earlier in Star Trek, we had the infiltration by those alien bugs.
They never followed that up.
No, but the introduction of the Cardassian Wars and the Maquis. Rather than having an alien takeover, having an organic revolution.
Oh yeah, that was much better than the alien takeover one, but I've always wanted to know, who are they signaling? I can't remember. They may have actually explored that a little bit in Voyager. I can't remember right now. There's a fuzzy part for me of Voyager. I think it was around season 6 into 7 where I watched all the episodes out of order because I couldn't. There wasn't quick and easy access. Now I do, thanks to you. I just never finished it. And plus, they're on Netflix, and they were on Netflix. Now they're on CBS All Access. I just never went back and finished it. Oh, but to finish my point about Data, I loved him when I was watching TNG, and since Nemesis came out, Art and I never really went back to TNG because we didn't, the loss of Data in that spoiler, this movie that came out 15 years ago, Data dies.
You don't need a spoiler alert for that.
That hit us hard because he had been like for me and my wife, we had kind of always been out of culture kids. So he was kind of that character on Trek. So when that happened, it kind of hit hard. And so we never really went back to TNG for years and years and years. And we recently tried, we watched Nemesis one more time, and it still wasn't any easier. And then I met Brent Spiner, and I don't know, maybe it may not be him, it may just be the combination of him and Gates McFadden, but one of the panels the first year I had at DragonCon was the two of them, and they were just mean. And it wasn't fun, it was just mean, and they were that way backstage too. And so when I had to interact with them as a part of Tech Ops, that's what I got. So Data, I have mixed feelings about Data now, but when I originally watched it, I loved the Data character, regardless of who he was interacting with.
Of character versus actor. It makes it more difficult to process the character if you're familiar with the character.
Yeah. There's a reason why they say don't meet your idols. It's better to just not idolize them at all, but, I mean, if you're going to, never meet them. It never ends well. Because then you discover that they're human, just like you.
Well, and so I have never gotten an actor or actress's photo. I've never done a photo op, and I've never gotten
Autograph?
An autograph. And my reason, if I liked the character based specifically on the acting, then I would. But generally, I identify with characters based on the story.
The writing. I Kill Omega. Actors who play a character for a long time often begin to hate the character and then begin to hate the fans. It happens quite a bit. Yep, Kirk. Although he finally, Leonard Nimoy, he got better about it, but towards the end there, for a long time, he was tired of people just identifying as Spock. It's like, he unfortunately got typecast into it, and his attempt to separate himself by playing that character he did on Fringe didn't have that effect. But yeah, that's now and oh well.
He has put into
no, he hasn't. He hasn't separated himself. He did for so many years, but then he finally just said. Now he doesn't really. He still picks on Wesley incessantly. It's one of his favorite things to pick on, but he's taken ownership of who he was in that role in a way. And I mean, look, he's turned it into bit characters on The Guild and Big Bang Theory and what was that show? The town that was hidden from people that the sheriff discovered. They had all those scientists in it building things. Eureka. And yes, the characters were slightly different than who he was in it, but they were all these smart, snarky people. He was nothing like that in TNG, but that's what he's become towards Wesley, and he's turned that into a character.
Exactly. he's made it him.
Yeah.
Like he took the experience, but kept a sense of identity. Well, didn't keep. I guess
He
manufactured.
he gained it later because remember, for a long time he wanted nothing to do with Wesley.
But that was part of creating the actor persona that he is now.
I mean, really, if you think about it, the fans didn't really want anything to do with Wesley either. Unfortunately, and that has to do. And that's there's a reason that's a meme. That's more for me. That's not Will Wheaton's issue. That's the way he was written and directed.
Yeah.
I mean, Gene Roddenberry was not shy about saying that Will Wheaton was him in the story. So I mean, think about if you're especially as a young actor, if the director or the creator of the series is telling you that that's a lot of pressure to fill into, and because of that, because he was supposed to be him in the series, he constantly put him in places that every single person watching go, there is no way he would be there doing that. So it was hard to separate yourselves.
Himself led a rather larger than life, had a rather larger than life experience himself.
Yeah, and he wanted to try to capture that, but I hate to break it to the people who think this, particularly him, but none of that happened when he was a kid. It all happened when he was an adult.
Yeah.
Like the story that's been making circles about him lately, about the whole airplane story.
That was after the military.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was his military experience that shaped what would future become that. But
Yeah, but that story itself was he was an adult. There's no stories of these big life experiences with him as a kid.
he had already passed his formative years.
I don't think he liked himself old. I don't think he liked being old. I don't think he ever really came to. And there's a lot of stories in Trek about people not coming to terms with age.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
the
and they had
the entire Star
concept
Trek
of
9
always-
was all about that.
Well, and the entire, I mean, this is from the original series episodes onwards. The concept of always wanting to be in the captain's chair, never wanting to progress past it.
Yeah. Not wanting. Yeah, that's where the action is. Yeah, and that's talk about
Maintain the youth.
maintain the youth, keep yourself involved in the action when you really need to just move on. And that was right there is all the original series movies also.
Yep.
If you think about who it was that was writing all these stories, it's that generation that still to this day still doesn't want to go quietly into the dark and go off and enjoy the benefits of all the years of doing what they've been doing. They just want to keep doing it, keep themselves. I mean, I was thinking about the whole I saw a billboard for advertising getting an MBA. Nowadays, like that's not enough. But when did that happen? I mean, for a long time, getting an MBA was considered like that was your golden ticket.
Yeah.
But when did that change? Well, it changed when everybody was coming in with this MBA, and then the people who were at the top, who were at the time the baby boomers, were starting to realize they were getting replaced. And so this quickly changed the standards so that MBA was no longer enough. You needed something extra to keep the young up and comers out of the market until later, so you could stay in longer. It happened. Societally, it happens to everybody at some point.
Yeah. Demand breeds supply, which then breeds demand somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to workforce, at least.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over the other side and fill it in. I think we're just about done with this layer.
Yeah. I've gotten this corner to shape, and then that's it.
After I finish this one, I'm gonna take a break real quick just to see what's going on family-wise.
Get in off as well.
Well, I don't think I'm gonna get. Well, if you can go off, I may switch to something else. I may do creative, do some cross stitching.
Oh, okay.
I just gotta see. I know there's something going on tonight, but I thought it started already.
Nice
And-
Thursday. Oh, well, it's weekly game night.
Well, for you, no. There's something going on at a school that Art and Zoe were going to, and I originally wasn't sure if I was going to be available, so they just planned on going without me, but then my afternoon meeting got canxed, so, and I just assumed. Hey, thank you for that follow there, Shadow Ninja. Obviously you'll be seeing a lot of this on my channel, but I also do creative streams, and
In the team channel, the Pixel Sharks channel,
it's a lot of Fallout.
more variety. Yeah, it's a lot of Fallout.
Not lately. Lately it's all been Fallout.
That's true. Well, I thought I saw Akil Omega. I thought I saw Chris playing some. Oh, we
What was
just
he?
talked about this.
The truck simulator? Your resistance was futile.
Truck Simulator.
Yeah, but I don't think he was streaming it to that channel. I think he was streaming it to iKill Omega.
Oh, that might be the case.
So just so for Shadow Ninja's benefit and anyone else that watches this later, Pixel Sharks is our Extra Life Team channel that on the day of the event, because we're spread out all over the world, people are going to be featured by hosting on that channel while they're streaming to their own channel. And it's just to create a central page for people to go donate to the team, because they can see the team members and see who needs what. No! Stream Elements is a little late. Usually they happen at the same time. For once, Ankbot is ahead. But yeah, so if you would like to help us in our goal, in our crusade or efforts to raise money to help kids in Children's Miracle Network hospitals, you can go to
tiny.cc/pixelsharks, no underscore, no space.
well, oh, hang on, that's the wrong place
Oh,
to
you're
do it.
linking it.
I was going to do yeah, I think I have a command, but those things never, at least Ankbot is so fickle, but that's the link. So I'm raising money this year to support UNM because a friend of the family's son is fighting leukemia and they are providing the care. Normally I support a hospital in Alaska that saved my niece's life when she was born 26 weeks early.
Yeah, I was surprised that you had not stuck with that same one.
Oh, I will next year. I'll go back to it next year. This year, though, I wanted to provide some extra support and awareness because, remember, this family has bills that they have to pay beyond what the hospital is paying for, and I can bring awareness to their GoFundMe at the same time.
Yeah.
And just, I mean, help out a hospital that's again, providing care for someone I know.
Yeah.
Alexi is no longer receiving care from that hospital, so moving, shifting it to a hospital that's directly supporting someone, that,
Makes sense.
yeah, for this year. And I already cleared my first goal. I'm think 60%, almost 60%. I think I'm still till I get to the second goal.
Our perimeter is complete.
Yeah, I'm just filling in.
Yep, I'm gonna start filling in here as well.
Cool. But yeah, Shadow. You'll also see some Lego games on here with Zoe. Zoe does Minecraft, but she does it in German. It's part of her one of the things she does every week to help maintain her German.
Civ. We do some Civ.
We do some Civ, yeah.
Civilization 6.
We have a game we should probably continue at some point, maybe Saturday. We'll see.
That's actually what we had been doing a little bit more. We only,
Until you decided you wanted to build an
Minecraft
enterprise. Yeah, because we didn't have anything to do.
Well, so I've the past couple of years I've been rewatching all Star Trek,
Yeah.
and I finished about a month ago. And then with the 50th anniversary, then Discovery, and now 30th TNG anniversary.
Okay, I'm not going to respond in German, but she spent 4 years in German school, from her first 4 years in school. So that's the equivalent. When she finished, we got her final report, that they do, and she had finished top of her class in German all 4 years. So we make sure she maintains that way. We have her communicate with her friends, watch stuff in German, read stuff in German, and I've thought, why not take something that she enjoys and have her use her language in a way that she hasn't ever really before.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to get her involved with a project that will so she'll do more than just run around and breed horses and chase cows.
Get her to come do this.
No, I think
No.
I think I'm gonna have her go. We'll go online together. We'll go online
Oh,
together
okay.
and find a project that she can build. Get her specs or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that's more interesting than her just running around chasing cows. I was hoping that getting her back on her world, since I managed to find her, she was lost for a long time, would get her back to wanting to build stuff. But nope, she just spent the whole time breeding horses. It's like, hey, if that's what you want to do. So yeah, so you'll see that on there. She and I do point and click games. We my schedule changed drastically, and so the schedule that's on the channel needs to be updated. A lot, well, a lot of things in my life changed, but the schedule I tried to set up just isn't going to work. I need to move.
What, moving halfway around the world doesn't change your schedule?
While changing careers.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Yeah, I had all kinds of things going on while changing careers.
We're doing a bit of a flip flop. You left the career, and I'm going back to it for at least a little bit.
Oh, I couldn't imagine going back. Not at this point. Just the thought of that gives me like
Willie's.
like a physical reaction. Like I get.
Well, and for me, it's completely intending to be a temporary thing.
Yeah, it's a means to an end.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, the military was always that. I wanted to get my master's degree and learn a language on someone else's bill. Check and check. Because we actually, Chelsea, Mike, and I met originally at training school where we were learning Arabic. Although at the time we didn't
that
like
was
each other.
a long time ago. 13 years ago?
2000,
Now.
2005.
2004.
2005. I got there in 2004, but I don't know if we crossed paths until 2005. Because you got
The
there right
first
after I
time
did.
I was ever aware of crossing a path with you was a culture day. We sat next to each other.
Okay, so that would have been 2005. Because I didn't do any of those in 2004. There may.
No, we were viewing. We were not participating.
Oh, okay. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. It wasn't initially. The only person I remember, the only people I remember meeting early on, when I was there, was Yusuf and my classmates. And obviously there were all of my basic, the guys in my basic training flight who were linguists also, but they were all in other languages. I think I was the only one in my flight at basic training that got the language I wanted.
Wow.
Everyone else got a language they didn't want.
Oh, I surely did not get a language that was on. So I was given 4 preference options. Didn't get a single one.
Yeah. I put other options on there, but I made sure I didn't put Korean on there because that's the one I didn't want. And the group of 75 plus linguists that were getting going through basic training at the same time was, I think at the time, the largest batch of them that they had go through, and that they had show up at the school afterward. Over 50% got Korean. And so I'm sitting there in that room, and they're calling off languages, and I'm like, oh no, it's gonna be Korean. And I heard one person get Arabic, and I'm like, oh no, there goes the one. I'm gonna get Korean. And then they got to my name and called Arabic. I don't remember hearing anything else after that, but a lot of Korean.
Like, oh. Yeah, I had picked.
I didn't like the language, and I'd already heard the stories about how people learned it at that school, and it has like
It was
a
rough.
90% dropout rate, primarily because of how they teach it there. Their teachers were even worse about trying to trick you than ours were. Like, the issue I had with most of our teachers was they always wanted to make sure that you knew they were better than you, and I thought that the whole reason that we're here is because you are better than us. That's why we are learning from you. I think you missed
Like, the
something in
relationship
this.
is based on this
Yeah,
premise.
the entire relationship is built on the fact that you are better at the language than me. But it was always like a game with them to show that, oh nice, you succeeded in this. Well, and then they would do something like, what was the point of that other than to just tear me down?
All right,
So-
that's it.
Yeah, it looks like it. Ooh, I'm gonna
So this grid, we've discussed this in each episode various times. This grid
Turn the lights off.
will not stay.
Turn off the lights so they can see what it looks like. That initially, we wanted to mark off grids of 10 so that we could see, so we had a visual reference of where every 10 was. And then when we started doing it, I had the idea to make them all lights so that we could actually see if he forgot to turn the sun on. Or if he was gone. Although the one time I tried to do this when you were gone, somebody left it on survival mode, which meant I had no supplies to do anything. So, let me get a screenshot there. Oh, I was taking a screenshot. Twit. Okay, it spawned me up on top, so please.
You reminded me.
Yeah. He loves to do that. It spawned me on top, so could you... Okay.
You're good. Yeah.
Do I need to stay... Man, I gotta get those things back on my thing again. At least I don't need the terracotta anymore. Okay, so... I'm going... What the heck? Why is this like that? Am I at the very top center? Yeah, I am. Okay, so I'm going to take just a short little break to go see what's going on dinner-wise and family-wise, and I will be right back. So if you could...
I'm actually going to be jumping off for probably the entire night. I've got to do some folding, some packing, shave my head, a couple of different things.
Okay, so Shadowing Ninja gives you just an automatic screenshot. Yeah, so does F2. Oh, okay, you middle click on it, just automatically gives it to you? Okay, yeah, okay, cool. I did not know that, thank you. And is that a mod? What do you mean, is that a mod?
What are we doing over
Being
dinner?
able to take screenshots? No, it's
Dinner
built
time?
into the-
I'm coming.
What are we doing over dinner?
We can watch Flash. Or Supergirl, we need to finish Supergirl. So yeah, I don't think we're playing a mod.
Nope.
I've never actually... Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually succeeded in playing with mods on there because the few times that I felt like doing it, it was way overcomplicated because they wanted so many mod packs loaded that I was spending, on a really fast computer, I was spending 20 minutes just trying to get the game to start, let alone get into the world. No, I'm not running any mods, so yeah, and you'll notice it automatically just defaults to the thing that I already have in my hand.
Realms. So this is on Realm. It's not a private server. Well, I mean, it is a private server, but it's a Realm. So we're paying, the team's paying every month to host a Realm. We've got 3 worlds on it.
Yeah.
We've been playing for a few years. The Realms don't allow functional mods. You can still use appearance-only mods.
Yeah.
Anything that changes the gameplay at all.
And that's that realm I was telling you about before that I was trying to get on was all just changing how things looked. And it was so intense, like there was so many things they were adding into it. It's like, why would you want to, wait 30 minutes to play your game every time you wanted to play? Not when I can get on in 2 minutes.
Yep.
So, okay, more blocks.
No, not mañana. Hasta luego, I guess.
Yeah. You're not around tomorrow, are you? Yeah, because you're going to a con. Have fun.
I am flying to Seattle. I'm excited. It's the first time I've ever been to Seattle, and I love seeing new cities. However, the Space Needle the restaurant
Is
the Space
closed.
Needle is closed for renovations.
Poor
So I'll
guy.
still go up onto the observation deck.
Poor guy.
I love going to new cities. I absolutely adore traveling and never been to Seattle, so I'm going for Geek Girl Con. It's not a big con. It's only a few years old. It exists as a result of a panel at San Diego Comic-Con in 2011, I think, where they were like, why don't we have a convention celebrating diversity and equality?
Yeah.
So that's what Geek Girl Con is.
Okay, well, you have fun. I'm going to look for someone to host. I think...
All right. See you, everybody.
See you later. I think I'm going to host up the Zelda Anne. So I'm going to eat dinner. I may, it depends on how the evening goes, I may get back on here in a little while. We'll see. You follow the channel so you'll find out. If I do get back on, I will probably do creative. I'll do some cross-stitching. So thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time. If you haven't followed Zelda Ann, she's an amusing player. So thanks. We'll see you later. Shadow Zone Ninja. Thanks for joining in, Fork and I Kill Omega, and we'll see you later.